And good morning. It is 19 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, of course, Elizabeth joining us from the Roswell Convention and Civic Center, and also joining us on the show here today. He's bringing all of his bubbles and his Sphere Bubble Show with us this weekend here in Roswell. Morning, Blaze. How you doing today?
Morning, Mike. It's so great to be here in Roswell.
Well, I got a first question. Thank you for coming and appreciate. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Okay, hence the lightning connection there. Okay, very good. So how long have you been this? I'm assuming this show and everything is just kind of your creation, your from your brain, your invention here.
Yeah, I started doing this professionally at 12 years old.
Okay,
and it started out with magic, and it started out very small.
Okay,
but it just continued to build on itself. And after 1,000 shows, we've done performances all around the country. And but it took literally thousands of hours of practice to develop all these bubble sculptures that I do in the show.
Gotcha. So is it? So I'm curious. As a kid, when you're home, what because your show's like combining science and magic and putting on. So what drew you to it? Was it the bubbles or was it the science that got you here?
I always loved entertainment, and I wanted to be a magician. But there's a lot of magicians out, and we got my dad in studio. He has joined the show. It's become a family bubble business, and so he was always my biggest supporter. And he said, there's a lot of magicians out there, but he remembered this guy in the '80s on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
His name was Tom Noddy.
Okay,
and he would do things where he'd blow cigarette smoke into bubbles and do various things. And
then we all tried it at home.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't work out quite the same. Yeah.
Well, it stuck with him, 30 years later, and I happened to be doing a magic trick with bubbles, and he thought, well, maybe there's something more to that.
Sure.
And so I looked it up online, and it just started it all.
Now, I'm curious, are you one of those kids that's like good at all those, like you knew that kid that like you gave him a Rubik's Cube or you gave him just any puzzle or
and he could figure it out
and he just knocks it out, and while you sit there stumped are you one of those that it kind of has that ability to kind of do those kinds of things?
I do a lot of different things. I'm also when I started out, I did balloon twisting, in restaurants, and I'm also a juggler, and so I've tried to do like jack of all trades, right?
Gotcha.
Different things. But the reason why I've landed on the bubbles is because it's so unique and so different. People have never seen it.
Well, and there's so much you could probably do with it. I
mean, the possibilities are endless. I'm always coming up with new things every single day.
So I'm guessing, and for folks, let me do the meat and potatoes here before you start getting, because I get into tangents. So let me invite folks first before we lose a couple people here and while they get off to work here. But the Spheres Bubble Show, there's going to be 4 different performances this weekend at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center, 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock this Saturday, tomorrow, and then Sunday at the Convention and Civic Center. If you go to holdmyticket.com, you can get tickets through there. If you're there, then you got to go through a little bit of a gauntlet. I've shared it on our Facebook pages. I know it's on, I think, the Convention Center and all those. If you just click on the event page there, you'll find a direct link to the Hold My Ticket. That way you don't have to search by event, and you just click the direct link. It'll take you there, and you can order as many tickets as you need for each show here.
And we also have it on the homepage of our website, spheresbubbleshow.com.
That way you can cut through all the other dots and dashes and things.
Right.
Will tickets be available at the door? Or
They will.
Okay, so
they will.
So if you space out and don't get tickets or get in a bubble and your thoughts go off into a bubble somewhere and you forget.
Yeah. Yes, so tickets will end ticket sales on Hold My Ticket on Friday morning. Well, this morning I think around 10-ish or so.
Okay.
And then they can come and purchase them at the convention center.
Okay, so if you get them right now this morning, you're good to go. But if you wait till this afternoon, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow and get them at the door there.
Right,
so,
you'll have to get them at the door.
Deal.
And there are posters all around town. There's a QR code. They can just scan it.
Yeah.
It takes it directly to them. But if they go to Hold My Ticket, there's a little tab at the top. One says events, and then you tap it, and it'll go to shows. For some reason, it's showing up under shows instead of events. So if they just click it, they hit Roswell, then we would find it. Yeah, but it's also an event.
That's right.
So we're trying to make it as easy as we can. But yes, you can buy them at the door, and there's VIP tickets, which are really cool. You get to sit in the front and
get to be put in a bubble.
I was about to say
the VIP, you get to go up on stage after the show and be put inside of a bubble. I put Tyra Banks inside of a bubble on America's Got Talent.
Nice.
Tons of other celebrities throughout the years, but it's a great photo opportunity. You know, people can take their own pictures inside of a bubble. They also get a poncho. So because we use it's very
I was about to say,
interactive.
you might need, if you're in the VIP, you might need some more waterproof apparel.
If you're up to the front, our show is very similar to Blue Man Group.
Okay.
You know, so but in our case, it's bubbles and foam that go out into the audience.
And your dad would know this guy. I'm not sure if you're old enough, but there was a guy named Gallagher.
With the watermelons,
Absolutely. Same. He had a brother too, and he tried to steal his act, Gallagher too. And matter of fact, this is getting shown, but yeah, his brother went by Gallagher too for a little while. And I remember I was in the Air Force, and I was stationed in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and there was a club there called Shooters. And sure enough, one night they had Gallagher 2 come in, and it was his brother who kind of looks just like him and stole. Matter of fact, I think Gallagher sued his brother over all of it.
Wow.
But yeah.
Talking about family drama.
Yeah, you don't have any brothers or sisters.
No, I don't. I mean,
okay, just
child,
checking.
so it's
I don't know, but Dave the alien might steal the show. I'm wearing I'm wearing my wonderful
Nice.
special
It's a
show.
2-hour makeup process.
Yeah. You're seeing the wizard behind the curtain, or the alien behind
In fact,
the curtain.
Saturday and Sunday morning prior to the show, we're going to be down here walking around downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you see this, I mean, not
Little like
it's-
street meet
Just-
and greets and
Just
things like
visiting
that.
the
Right.
main
Little
street
photo
and people of
ops.
Roswell. And
Maybe
Yeah.
blow a bubble or two
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and meet and greet, invite people to come out to the
Yeah.
conventions.
definitely gets
Absolutely.
attention.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But he's the
Excellent.
real talent. He's the artist. I'm the clown.
So, so I'm kind of curious, like, because obviously once you nail a different trick or performance or something like that, and you can add it. But I'm guessing at some point you're always trying to outdo yourself, right? That's kind of, it's like, man, I put somebody inside a bubble. How am I going to top that?
Exactly.
Right.
We're always trying to think of ways to make the show bigger and better.
Yeah.
And this show is so much fun. This is our Expand the Universe tour. And we debuted it last summer in Pennsylvania. We went through the Northeast, and now we've started going to the Southwest. We did a 2-week residency in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And so the tour has been really successful so far. But out of all the places you could possibly go, we were so excited to bring it to Roswell.
Well, is this your first time ever coming to New Mexico
Actually,
or Roswell area?
it's a great story. The last time I was in Roswell, I was 7 years old.
Okay.
It was 14 years ago. Before I wanted to be a bubble performer, I wanted to be a UFO hunter.
Oh.
And I still love aliens.
Well, this is like the
obviously.
melding of all your worlds.
It really
here.
is. I love aliens, and I always did since I was a little kid. And so having such incredibly loving and supportive parents, they were like, okay, well, if you like aliens, we'll take you to Roswell, New Mexico. And so was a magical trip, and it's so great reliving it all these years
It's
later
kinda
and
surreal to
performing
come
here.
back.
It is surreal.
That is
Yeah.
well. Maybe you can sweet talk Elizabeth, and maybe they can try to book you guys around the UFO festival time, and then you guys are here when the alien stuff and everything's here. And
Oh,
you
we would
can-
love to come back
when
to
you're-
Roswell
when you're
at
not
some
busy
point.
not doing your shows, you
Yeah.
can come in and experience the UFO festival.
That would be
and
wonderful.
all of that
Yeah.
good
We were
stuff.
talking about the UFO Expo. Try to get them. They're on their tour. We're trying to see if we can get them here for that one. There'll be a lot of really great celebrities here, and it'd be nice to have
Interesting.
them.
Well, and it's pretty neat because I've got to interview a lot of the UFOologists and stuff over, and I don't know. Do you remember one of my favorite ones? And I think you'd get a kick out of this. Is have you ever heard of or seen the movie Fire in the Sky? It came out in the 90s.
Yeah,
I
So
don't
it was a
believe it sounds familiar.
But
though.
but the movie it starred some bigger names back in that day. You wouldn't know any of them now. But anyway, the movie's based off a true story where there was a logging
Yes.
crew in Arizona, and they were up in the mountains in the woods cutting, doing their job when they come across a light, and this guy Travis Walton gets out, gets sucked in the light, and gets abducted and disappears for 3 days. The cops are about to arrest his buddies for murder when he shows up at a gas station 3 days later, and he basically says, and tells the story of got probed, abducted, and everything else. So they made a movie based on it. And but the guy, the real guy, he comes every year, and you talk to him, and you hear the story. And
oh my gosh.
it's pretty. What the part that I love about it is there's a documentary out there that if you go to the crash site now in Arizona, the it's not the same. Like the trees in that area are a little short. Like you can see where the ship was. like the growth is stunted a little bit. There's there's things that are different there than other part of the woods.
And that's fascinating.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that was, this is where you get to learn all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, Roswell's the place to hear great. Elizabeth's been telling us great alien stories and history. And,
yes, the Berkshires, Tom Reed's Berkshire's UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So you got plenty to research and do while you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you get some sightseeing time today and all that.
Yesterday we got a chance to visit Main Street and see all the great stores.
Good. Well, hopefully the wind won't prevent you from visiting too much here today.
Oh, no, it's been great. Yeah.
So you brought toys, and I got to make you play with the toys because I want to see.
Yeah, you got to see some bubbles. We were saying it's rare that I have the opportunity to do bubbles on radio, so this is perfect with the live stream.
Well, fortunately, we have a video, so me, other than the four of us in this room, get to enjoy them.
That's great.
So I'm curious, like when you set up this stuff, do you have to come up, like when you do the act, do you have to come up with a story to match the thing you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, every trick has a different name, a different story behind it.
Because like magicians, that's kind of, especially in, the way more modern magicians try to do their act, they attach a story, or it's almost like a drama within the trick as well. So I didn't know if you had to do some of that with the bubbles.
Exactly, absolutely.
Almost every effect has a story.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And or a process that it came, like a lot of times you stumble on things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, that's cool. How'd you do that? And, I don't know. Let me do that. And he eventually gets it. And we put names on it.
A lot of trial and error. And
can you do?
Let me
can
do
you do the merry-go-round?
Yeah, let me.
This is the merry-go-round. Okay.
And that came. I'll talk because he can't talk and blow bubbles at the same time. It came from we do a place called Icon Park in Orlando.
Okay.
International Drive. It's the 6th highest Ferris wheel in the world. And they also have carousels and things there. And so he came up with this one called the carousel. And you'll see why here in a minute, why we call it that. But we use fog and various things to make that.
I'm curious. Did he ever play band in school?
No. You had asked about his background. I tried to expose him to, my background was athletics as a young guy, and he just never cared about it.
How cool is that?
Now watch this.
Where'd the smoke come from? I missed the smoke.
He's
always making it with the machine. How cool is that?
Now, I don't have your other one, so you can't turn it sideways. But if you turn that sideways, it becomes the Ferris wheel.
You call it the Ferris wheel.
Oh, cool. How cool is that?
Don't blow on his equipment here.
That's all right.
You got to pop it, Mike.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll keep it more contained.
Cool.
But you got to be able to pop a bubble. That's the whole point.
Well, the reason I asked the band thing, because obviously it takes amazing amount of breath control to do that just right. And I'm thinking, with instrument training that I didn't know if you had a little bit of instrument training background to help with that discipline.
No, just all with bubbles. But no, the biggest thing that we run into is airflow, because you imagine sculptures are very sensitive to airflow. So we literally have to turn the air conditioning off just for that one portion of the show.
I imagine none of your shows are outdoor.
No, we do have an outdoor show.
We do an outdoor, but it's totally different.
Gotcha.
We do a version of it in the show at the very beginning and the finale of our stage performance. These giant wands that make huge car-sized bubbles and millions of bubbles. And outdoors, the wind is your ally. The wind makes it. And we call that show Liquid Fireworks. When we're actually, we were doing it in front of the Civic Center yesterday on Main Street. It was great. Cars were loving it, smiling, honking at us. So
I imagine it takes a different formula for the bubble making stuff.
Right.
A little bit more stout stuff, I'm
guessing. Yeah. No, we use different solutions and different parts of the show that are different consistencies.
So is that all you guys too? I mean, are you guys the ones that are kind of like, all right, we got to make the right ratio for this trick? We need to, you know what I mean? Is it that's where a lot of the science comes in, is probably the ratios of your
exactly. And we use things like distilled water that is sometimes hard to get. Like in our area, we had the hurricane come in not too long ago.
That's
and we
true.
had shows booked.
Did you guys fare off from that? I didn't even think about that.
We're in Tampa, and it was like a bowling
to come
book.
right
it was
through
going
us,
to come right through.
But no, we were very fortunate ourselves. But
he had a big bubble. He blew it just slightly.
Yeah. But we had several. We had a wedding in Naples on the beach and a school
several
in
schools
Naples
in Fort Myers that were hit really hard. But they were able to reschedule. The communities coming together, and they've got a lot of support. So that's good.
Yeah.
So we're excited to bring them some joy, right? When we get back to
because all we
Florida.
see on the news is footage of a bunch of flooded and destroyed things.
No,
And,
Well, maybe you could do the tornado to show them that.
Oh yeah, let me try that one.
Oh, good. All right. So
Hey, we have several weather.
speaking of
themed-
natural disasters,
Yeah.
here's the
segue.
the bubble tornado.
Now, he does this with butane and literally makes a flaming vortex, but we can't always do that in every venue.
Sure, I would imagine that depends on the fire codes.
We tried
That's
to do
so
it in a theater in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and they said we'd love to do it, but the history of the theater is it burnt down.
Yeah, they're probably
9
a
months
little
after
gun
they
shy
opened it.
about that.
So this one happens
Oh,
pretty
cool.
quick.
Just watch the center.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
So this is just a small sample of
Yeah.
what you'll see in this show,
How
but
cool
we
is
have
that?
much bigger versions of all these sculptures.
Yeah, this is all the micro.
Right. This
stuff
is
here.
the easy travel version.
Tabletop,
The tabletop version of the show.
So we talked about the actual the liquid and stuff you guys made. Now, is it the same with the bubble equipment that you use to make the?
It's all custom made.
Okay.
These are 3D printed pieces, basically like a miniature Halloween fog
Okay.
machine, and we use to inject it in the bubbles, but we have much bigger fog machines.
Okay.
I do something where at one point in the show we get some volunteers to come up on stage, and I obviously put them in the bubble.
Sure.
But then I do something where I make foam hats on their heads.
Oh, nice.
And I blast them off with a smoke ring. So there's all sorts of cool stuff that we do beyond the sculptures. I do this thing called the bubble wall, which is a giant film. It looks like a big window pane of bubble solution, and we put lights and our lasers on it, and
Oh,
it
wow.
reflects the lights and lasers, and it's otherworldly. No pun intended, but it's really quite cool.
That is cool. So now I'm curious. Like, how do you come up with the ideas for these? Is it out of your brain? Is it a collaboration with your family or friends?
Just trial and error and,
Yeah.
and practice, and we brainstorm ideas all the time, back
Sure.
and forth, and
I'm the king of PVC.
yeah.
Okay.
And
So
so-
are you
Yeah,
kind
he
of the
built-
engineer
Yeah,
or
a
the
little
builder
bit.
behind
He
it?
builds a lot of the
Yeah.
equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, because the more I hear it, and I was thinking like Jeff Dunham, Jeff Dunham, where he's got his act, but half his job is him making and creating and doing all of his characters and things, which sounds a lot like the same work you're doing with 3D printers and that kind of work too.
Right,
so
no.
so I was like, there's a lot of similarities there. So I'm kind of curious, what is it that do you? I mean, obviously you probably love performing and all that, but is half the fun like tinkering?
A lot of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I love what I do, right?
Yeah.
There's never a dull moment, and it's so fun to experiment with new ideas. And we just recently, within the last year or so, we've added this foam cannon to the show. It's just the very finale. We've got our alien Z comes out and blasts the crowd with foam. And
Sure.
So new elements are always fun to play with. It takes a lot of work to figure it out and rehearse and get those, we have to refine things to make sure they're good enough to put into the show.
Sure.
And but when they get to that point, it's always exciting to see the audience reaction to a new element of the show.
And that's where I was going next. I'm like, is there like in your mind, or is there in your memories like a reaction that you got from the audience that just kind of stuck with you, or like
God.
because like for instance,
More
like
than I can count.
like you always see like David Blaine back in the day when he did his street magic, and he'd go to like Haiti and stuff, and he'd do that move where he'd pull the head off the chicken. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but that was
I think
one of
I've
his-
seen that one, yeah.
But he would freak out. Like the people would think he's some kind of witch doctor and run away from him and stuff. And I just don't know if you've experienced, maybe not witch doctor, but something along those lines. And they're like, this guy, he's not from this earth doing those kind of tricks,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Z the alien is the one that gets a lot of reactions like that.
That's his wheelhouse
Yeah,
there. So.
but for me, ironically, I've technically been on 2 seasons of America's Got Talent.
Right.
And the first season, it was just a little speaking role to introduce the magic segment, and my
Okay.
quote was, "I love the reactions I get from people," and that's very true. You see that's the great thing about it is it makes other people happy, it makes them smile. You get some pretty extreme reaction. We call it the squeal factor from kids. Kids go absolutely nuts, but it's great because adults love it too, and
well,
it's
they'll
good
say
for
this
all
is,
ages.
yeah, like ideally you want to bring your kids to this show, but you don't have to. There's like, I don't care if you're, young at heart or young. It doesn't matter. If you're going to sit here and watch it, and you're like, that was pretty cool. That
Yeah.
was entertaining. That was fun.
is.
Well, being in Central Florida, we're a lot of retirees, and we'll do retirement homes, and it's amazing. They are the best audience. After the
The older
show,
folks love
they have
the bar.
questions. He had one old lady that said, son, I'm 100 years old and I've never seen anything like that.
Well, because I think we're all secretly jealous. Like, we didn't have bubble stuff like that when we were kids that we could blow and all that. All we had was that one you got at the liquor store that came for a buck, and you put it in there and you get a little bit and you get about this much fluid. Yeah.
Oh, they have some great gadgets too. For sale. So they have like this. There's a gun.
You
What
guys
is that?
a lot of
Talk about
merch.
that.
You guys have swag that they can buy?
We sell the bubble solution that we use in the show, which is a lot better than what you normally would get at the store.
The stuff we try dish Dawn soap and all that.
Exactly. We've got all sorts of really cool bubble toys. We only brought our best-selling, highest quality bubble products.
Okay.
We have something called a bubble blaster. That's what Elizabeth was talking about.
Okay.
Z usually goes out before the show as people are being seated and uses some of our merchandise, some of our products, and it's great because people get to see how cool they are. We do this bubble sword, which opens up and makes giant bubbles.
Oh, cool.
And you can cut bubbles with it, all sorts of tricks, put bubbles in bubbles. And then the blasters create hundreds of little bubbles, and we have something called touchable bubbles.
Okay.
And they actually do not pop.
Oh, wow.
It sounds great. I should have brought them with me. That would have been
That's
really cool. But
cool.
it would get all over your equipment here. But they literally solidify after 10 seconds.
nice.
And they land on your bare hand without popping. They're
Wow.
the coolest things ever. And
That
so,
is cool.
obviously, our shirts, these are all blacklight reactive. And Roswell,
I do. I
would
was going to say, I noticed when I was
Elizabeth's
looking at
got
them.
her-
Yeah, they got the black light. I was like, I could tell by the way they're colored. I was like,
yeah,
they're
we've
going to
got
look
black
cool.
lights on them in our merchandise.
So wear
tent.
them out to the event this weekend, and because I imagine it's going to be a little dark there in the convention center. So turn them on,
Exactly.
and then you'll see the glow of the shirts that'll go probably nicely with all the fun that's happening on stage.
And
there,
we'll have
so.
plenty of black lights around, so it'll be a great
Good deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, did this start with you, Dad, or I mean, like, I imagine that the idea of doing it, but you're probably the guy that made the logistics happen, and I'm guessing you probably helped him navigate to eventually get on America's Got Talent and all that. So I'm kind of curious, like, how did all that?
Well,
process
I
go for
watched
you guys?
him grow, trying to do, I would expose him to things, and he would try them, and usually he was good at things, but he just wasn't interested in them.
Gotcha.
And so I just got him a Chris Angel magic kit one time, I think, and he really showed interest in that. And I said, well, I want you to do something with your life that you really want to do.
Gotcha.
And so we pushed that, and one day he was doing this trick that literally was a magic trick, which he alluded to earlier. And I said, that reminds me of this guy. And we just saw potential. And he was doing little kids' birthday parties at 10 years old, 12 years old.
So you
I
were
wasn't
12
too
when you
far away from their age.
And I
but
just noticed-
when you get big like me, kids.
I just noticed that the bubbles got a better reaction than the general, magic shop.
Okay. So it was like a general magic act that got, hey,
And it
wait a
just
minute.
got
This
bigger.
slowly evolved into bubbles.
This is where people are gravitating towards. I'm going to focus my attention.
Where we hit a crossroads was the fog. Because he can do a million things without fog in him, but the fog really enhances it. So there's a funny story there. He was 12, and I don't smoke. And Tom Noddy, the original guy, did it. He smoked. That's back when you could smoke everywhere.
Sure,
I could be
everybody's
smoking right in here.
I'm sure the second graders in the audience were smoking.
Yeah. So one day my wife was going to the store, and she said, you need anything? And I was like, well, we had been talking about this. I said, well, can you get me a pack of 305s? And she's like, what? And I said, we got to try to do this. We got to get fog in this bubble.
Yeah, we're trying to
So he'd be out
experiment.
there. He'd be out there blowing these bubbles. He's like, all right, Daddy, do it. And I'd quickly light the cigarette and try to blow in it. And I was like, I'm like a bull in a china shop, right? I was like, we got to come up with something different. So I found this science toy that would blow the vortex rings.
Okay.
And I just put some balsa wood on the front, drilled a hole in it, put a little straw in it, put another little straw in it, and it worked. The problem was the things were like $35, and they would work for about 2 hours at the rate he was using them.
Yeah, you're
And
going
then
to
they
go for
just
them
break
quick.
down. And
So
then,
finally, so that got us at least going with it.
That gave you the concept.
Yeah, and then vapes came out, and,
Right.
and that was kind of a,
we know what that is.
and generally people might think that was a negative thing, but for us it was.
Well, I was say it was actually a fix to your problem.
Exactly.
But 2 times on live television, it has become a topic, and one was the mayor of Tampa. And he said, well, what's that thing? And he said, it looks like a vape. And he said, yeah, it is. And he said, are you even old enough? He was 14. He said, are you even old enough to have it? He said, well, my dad gets it for me. I'm shrinking down
Well,
slowly.
and then you joke and you say, see the bubble? I don't inhale.
Yeah. But then
That is very true.
Another newscaster, another episode, he's blowing the bubble, and he said, "Oh, there's that fog thing." He said, "Is that the one that your dad? I heard your dad took you into the vape store to get." And I'm like, "Come on, Dad."
I'm finally 21 now, so I can get them myself.
He's like, I'm by myself now. Was that a big day? And you walk in, he's like, yep, these are for me.
No, because I don't smoke it.
Right.
I use it, and I use no nicotine juice. It's
Sure.
like heated glycerin is all it is.
Sure.
And I got the 3D printed person. Someone in Washington State makes them for me.
Yeah.
And
And then you can have the added bonus. The people there in the audience get, depending on what you infuse it with, you could make it nice cherry or.
I use scented.
Is that guava? What is that?
Yeah.
Is that bubble?
And people always comment on the smell because in our big fog machines we use scented fog tubes, and then the bubble soap smells good. So it's funny, for a week or so after our show, the Civic Center is going to smell really good.
Yeah.
But
Great.
Well, that might be good. Book some gigs because, man, it smells very clean and tidy in here. Very cool. But if you're just tuning in, come on out and check out the Spheres Bubble Show. You've got 4 shows coming up this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, 2 o'clock and 5 p.m. at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center. You can go to holdmyticket.com right now and get tickets till about 10:30 this morning or so. Then it's going to be strictly at the door only. But no worries. Good news is Convention Center is pretty big, so we can fit a lot of people in there.
yeah.
So we'll get you in there, and don't worry. Whether you're in the very back or the very front, I'm sure Blaze here will make sure you can see all the cool bubble the things, and don't forget, get the VIP tickets. Give out the ticket prices again, Elizabeth.
So the VIP tickets are $25 each, and you buy them in sets of 2.
Okay.
So they have them. And then the general admission tickets are $15.
Very good. And get them online before 10 o'clock this morning here at holdmyticket.com, or go to pretty much everybody's Facebook, our Facebook, the Convention Center's Facebook. Look for Spheres Bubble Show Facebook. Any of those will have a direct link to the Hold My Ticket if you want to do that. But if you don't want to do any of that, just come on out at 2 or 5 tomorrow or Sunday and get your tickets at the door, get you a good seat, and get the VIPs. I imagine they're going to sell quick. So if you don't go online and get your VIPs, you might want to be there first in line, because I imagine they're going to sell first, whatever. If there's going to be anybody available.
Those
So.
are the
we
ones
only
that
have
have
50.
been going.
Yeah, and so if there's even going to be available for when you get there. But so just do yourself a favor, go to the Hold My Ticket this morning while you're here, or when you get to wherever you're going to, and get your tickets. That way you can come, and it'll be like we'll call you, pick it up when you get there, and come on in and enjoy the convention center, enjoy the show.
Yes.
So.
And it's for all ages. So don't think if
Exactly.
you don't have kids, you can't come, because I totally enjoyed it yesterday when they were practicing. They did this, Blaze did this really neat bubble creation that, to me, it looked like 2 UFOs, and he had air going, and they were going the same way, and then he switched it where they were going opposite directions.
Oh, cool.
Well, you
And
saw
it
the
had this-
merry-go-round earlier.
Yeah,
We do
Same
a double.
concept. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it had color. The colors were changing, and it was really amazing.
So I'm curious, like, how do you remember, like, is there like a book somewhere you're like, okay, the merry-go-round? How do you remember, like, do you forget some of these after a while? I mean, how does it?
Well, I've probably created over 100 unique bubble effects over the years. With
Is it different every time, too? It's like a unique art piece where it's like no two are exactly
and it's
alike.
temporary, right? It's not permanent, so
Sure.
it doesn't always last. And but no, it's hard to keep them all, keep track of them all. But
one thing I'll say about that is he's so capable of so many things. The problem is that when you're trying to do them live on a stage, we've got sort of a arbitrary level that we've determined. He's not going to do them unless we have a 90% certainty that he's going to get them.
Gotcha.
And he disclaims in the show that I'm only going to try these 3 times.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's like, working with pets or kids.
Something just doesn't work.
It just something doesn't
Yeah.
work, and so he moves on.
because they are
all
regular
those-
bubbles at the end of the
But,
day. It's-
but that's part of the draw of the show.
Right.
Because if it was easy, we'd all be standing up there on the
Right,
stage.
exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so you, I'm a radio show host. The struggle is part of the show sometimes, and so maybe it's a challenge for you, but also at the same time, it makes the show more entertaining. It's like, dude, this is not.
Yeah,
People know it's real.
Yeah,
it's not,
exactly.
It's not CGI.
It's like, there's a shot here. I'm going to screw this up, and y'all going to laugh at the end of it.
But
Well, it's funny. It's so unusual, and people have never seen anything like it. That sometimes I'll make mistakes, and the audience still applauds. They think it's part of the show. And,
Yeah.
But no,
We just go with it. That's the beauty of live performance.
You just take a bow and roll. And the bubbles sometimes do things that amaze me. That things will happen that I didn't intend to do that are really cool looking, and so they have a mind of their own for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm curious, what's the future of this for you? What do you want to keep this show and grow it? Do you want
Absolutely.
Does it want to evolve at some point to something different? What's your plans or your dreams for this?
Well, the ultimate goal is we'd love to have a permanent show somewhere,
Gotcha.
and
like a showcase in Vegas or something, like
Vegas,
Terry Fader or something like that.
Or Orlando. We've talked about Orlando.
That'd be nice, closer to home,
close to us, exactly. And
talk to the Disney folks.
In the meantime, we're just going around, and we love doing this Expand the Universe tour. We're seeing new parts of the country, and it's just fun being on the road.
Yeah, we went to we started in Beaumont, Texas, and then Columbus, Texas, and then Santa Fe, and then back, and now here.
Okay.
And
so where do you guys head after this?
Home.
After this, we go back to Tampa, and I've got a lot of shows in Central Florida. But our next big Expand the Universe tour show is at the Museum of Discovery and Science in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And so that'll be a lot of fun.
Nice.
And but we've got a
the
lot
Florida
of
Aquarium,
we're doing the Clearwater
Aquarium.
Marine Aquarium and the Florida Aquarium when we get back around the holidays. They love having us there. 'Cause the aquariums are a perfect venue for us. Bubbles and
I will say, it kind of feels like there's a synergy there.
Yes,
a little bit.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's like
And the Lightning, we were Super Bowl 55 approved entertainers.
Oh,
and,
okay.
it got a little tight with COVID, but we were outside the stadium doing the big.
But we've done bubbles
giant
for the
bubbles.
Buccaneers and the Lightning,
cool.
when they were in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so
Did you meet Tom Brady?
No,
or
I didn't get to. I wish. Yeah, put him in a bubble.
I was
That'd be
gonna
fun.
say,
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of Tampa
One
Bay
of
fans
these
that want you to
days.
put him in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like, keep him around.
Yeah.
Get him in the bubble.
Yeah. We'll cut him some slack. When
Yeah,
There you go. There we go.
Yeah.
But do we have time for one more one more trick
Yeah, well,
before
let's see. I'll do,
we'll leave everybody with some amazing.
I'll do the bubble cube. That would be a great one to do.
Okay. By the way, he's got round things to make a cube. Just saying.
Who would have thought a sphere out of bubbles could become a cube?
Why don't you can you back up a little bit? Because that was
All right, this is going to take some space.
Got real quiet.
Yeah,
we're all watching
like
you.
this.
We're afraid to
I forgot it's a
breathe.
radio form, but I'm kind of mesmerized by the bubbles. How cool is that?
He talks out. I've heard the dialogue so many times that he explains that bubbles are what they call minimal surface structures.
Okay.
And that they're always trying to form a sphere. They may not be in a sphere.
Sure.
But so physicists believe that a bubble cube would be impossible, and so he
begs to
differ.
So look right
Of course,
in the
he's
sky.
kind of rigging physics here a little bit, but
oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that?
So that's the bubble cube.
Man, that is so cool.
Wow.
and he, believe it or not, he has experimented to the point where he can do. I can't even say the word.
How
it's
cool
not
is
meant to
that?
spin. What is a duodecahedron?
It's a duodecahedron, so it's a 12-sided. It's got different pentagons. It takes a long time to develop.
Once you
that
figure out
one
the
phase,
concept
but-
of adding bubbles to that shape, it will create various other types of geometric shapes. It's
How cool is
we can't
that?
explain it. You can just do it.
There's a lot of science behind it.
The
but
bubble wall.
I'm
is one of-
assuming you did pretty good in science class in school.
I did okay. Bubble science, I understand.
He's like, I understood this. He started getting to dissecting animals. I wanted to
No.
know that.
One of the
just
funny things about his
curious.
schooling is he did a Montessori school till 8th grade. That's as far as they went, and he was doing so many schools, so many shows that he had to do virtual school after that. But in 9th grade, his school called me and said, "We do this big, fundraising thing, and we would like to have Blaze be the feature entertainer." So I thought that was pretty cool in 9th grade to be brought back to your school to be the feature entertainer for 300 adults at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And that was a really proud moment. But
And I did virtual school for all of high school because we were doing so many shows and started performing around the country. I was only 16 when America's Got Talent happened, and I had to have a license to work as a minor in the state of California to do America's Got Talent. He had to come with me. And
he did the Boston Children's Museum, and the lady commented, she said, he wouldn't be allowed in here without you if he wasn't performing.
I'm curious how many attendees at your show go home and then try to work really hard to replicate what you're doing and can't get it done, because it's such a talent. So
I'm not
Absolutely.
aware of anybody.
I mean,
That is so cool.
Never have I seen people will come up and they have already been playing with them and they'll
Right.
show us stuff and we really like, oh wow, but not anybody that I'm aware of.
I think if people try it and they realize how much it actually
Yes.
takes,
Yeah.
it was very frustrating to learn, because they are regular
Although,
bubbles.
I imagine you're inspiring the next generation. There's going to be I'm sure there's some child in your audience over the years that they inspired by what you do, and here in about 10 years, you're going to see what they did with you. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
like they're going to take what I saw this bubble guy, and then they're going to take that to the next level.
See, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love seeing. It's funny when you see the kids with like our toys that we sell, for example, the swords, and they get so excited when they're able to put a bubble inside of a bubble, and you look at their faces are so happy, it's like, well, that really is inspiring.
Yeah,
It makes me happy.
We
to
do a
see
lot
that.
of charity work too, and
Yeah.
that really like autism, kids with autism. That's something.
I
that
imagine there's a lot of
they
cool
love
different
it in
things you can
general,
do with them and
Yeah.
folks on the spectrum
Yeah.
and stuff.
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
respond very well to bubbles.
Yeah.
And, we've worked with Best Buddies International and a lot of children's cancer organizations, the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, Children's Cancer Center, a lot of different places that it's so rewarding to see, the reaction from kids who really need something positive in their lives. And,
Absolutely. So come see it for yourself.
yeah.
You got 4 shows to check out this Saturday, this Sunday, all of them at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center, 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Both Saturday and Sunday. Tickets available online to about mid-morning this morning at holdmyticket.com. Otherwise, get your tickets at the door. What time is doors open before each show?
1:30, 30 minutes before.
About 30
each
minutes.
show.
So 1:30 and 4:30 respectively, both times there. And come out and see Blaze and the Sphere Bubble Show here.
Yeah,
So,
you can enjoy
very
a
good.
beverage and a
Oh, yeah.
snack and
And then get the VIP where you get, you
Get put inside of
get
a
to
bubble.
meet
Yeah,
Blaze
get to
and
meet
get to meet
us.
Z.
Get to
There's
meet
only
the
limited
alien.
tickets on those, or
Yeah,
limited number
limited
of space
VIP
available.
tickets.
So
You
get
definitely
on
want to
that.
grab those first. and,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, awesome. Is there anything we missed that you guys wanted to share that we just got
I think
sidetracked
we've
on?
covered
Tons
it.
of things.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a
There
lot
are
more.
lots of stories. We can
Yeah.
talk for hours. But
But cool. Well, thank you guys for
No,
coming in. Appreciate it. We
no,
look
thank
forward
you,
to
Mike.
seeing your show, and of course, hopefully we get you back in Roswell again during a UFO festival. I think you'd get a big kick out of
that would be great.
Oh,
We'd love to come back to
as
Roswell.
a aficionado of UFO lore and UFOlogy. I think you would definitely get a kick out of it.
Well, and Roswell holds just a special place in my heart, so we can't wait to come back.
Well, at a very minimum, you got to eat at all our alien-themed restaurants.
Yeah,
and everything.
exactly. A lot of great food.
There you go. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. We'll see you here this weekend. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. All right, it's 7:56. Let's take a quick break before news. Actually, sports.